we're in. We can see the donation feed at the bottom of the page. That will come up with a few indications as to what's going on there. Hopefully that will be a little bit insightful for you. We can see the players in play in the drop down on the top left. And now let's have a look at the system in play. Let's start at Planet 1. Square 1. 4 players in a free-for-all. They will spawn in these sort of sets of 4 mechs right about here. It's quite nice. And they can expand in any direction they so choose. There's one going to be across the North Pole for them. And then 2 on the South Pole down here. And the players are spawning in now. Let's see what happens. Moving round to CLOPSE's beginnings. Humble and playing as the vanilla MLA faction. He's going for bots in the first instance, up with a metal factory and a vehicle factory next, followed by a load of economy. So actually, he hasn't gone air, which is somewhat at odds with the little blurb that was given. Is he trying to prove us all wrong? He could have something up his sleeve here, Roncat.
He could indeed. We now have, if we look up to the north, FERRETMASTER, who's playing as the Legion faction, the modified faction added by the Planetary Annihilation community. He is starting with a Walker Foundry with some bots as well, and he's also got a Flyer Foundry up and running as well. This is a fairly standard build. For those who are new to PA, who are not familiar with the game, there are different styles of units. We have the lightly armoured, fast-moving walkers or bots, and then we have the more heavily armoured, tankier vehicles, slower moving of course, always important on the free-flowing maps of PA. We then have air, which you can see of the air factory there being pumped out. Moving further out, later in the game, players have the option to move into the orbital layer. We won't see that for a while, but there are 4 planets in the system, one of the unique features of Planetary Annihilation. And he's now beginning to build up his metal economy. Marshall, do you want to talk a little bit about the metal economy for those who are new to the game?
Yeah, indeed. So the way that the economy in this game works is it is a streaming economy. There is no stockpiling of resources. You have an income and expenditure. In the top left there, the hexagon icon, that's your metal. On the left is the income. On the right is a 0 at the moment for all of these guys because they're not spending too much or spending too little. When it starts to spend too much, we start getting into the red numbers there, and you can see that sort of happening. And the power, again, metal is used to build things, power is used to power the things that are doing the building, essentially. Or if you've got like radar, for example, or teleporters. If these numbers go blue, it means the players are getting in so many resources, but they're not spending them, so they are essentially wasting the resources they're getting in. But if they go red, that means they're spending too much, and they're stalling. So at that point, all of their production will slow down, essentially.
Looking around the map now, we can see a few aircraft scouting around the place. Scouting is absolutely crucial in this game. Spherical planets give you absolutely no corners to hide away in. So all of our players now looking to try and find out where their opponent is, find out what they're up to, and from where they may be attacking them. Donations that are made will start to come in at around about the 2-minute mark. You will see a ping on the map when our Puppet Master places the units that have been donated by you, the players. So if you're looking at the stream, looking at these players, looking at somebody who might potentially need some help, please go across to the donation page and give them the help that they so desperately need.
We can see a few of these nice platoons of air floating around now. Red coming in from FERRETMASTER with a bomber here, taking a look at some of these fabricators, getting a nice shot off. There still is one surviving there, which is really nice for Dissonant, who's in yellow here. But he really doesn't want to lose those fabricators. FERRETMASTER is really being a bit of a bully up here on the north side. The only other player we haven't really introduced at the moment is Anonymous. Anonymous has gone straight up into an orbital launcher here. Is Anonymous eyeing up the other planets? Quite possibly. And there are plenty of them. Let's have a brief look around the rest of the system, and we'll come back to this planet shortly. The one with the laser is our metal planet. It looks ominous because it is. On the North Pole here we have 5 blue nodes. On the menu you will have seen the Catalyst control node. 5 of those donated to a single player on this planet will give them the ability to use this laser. And that will be really hefty. It basically one-shots a planet out of the system, eliminating loads of stuff. Again, all the green pots are the metal sites. Roncat, do you want to walk us through the That's No Moon?
That's No Moon is indeed a moon, and it's a moony moon. And in fact, if you look closely on That's No Moon, somebody has already started construction of a teleporter there. If we zoom out and look into the orbital layer, we can see that orbital fabricators are already on the move between the planets. Our players desperate to get off of that awfully cramped square one. That's No Moon is a very small, bumpy, moon-looking thing. Lots of metal on there, but not anywhere near as much as on the two larger planets. Importantly, if you look in the top right, you can see the 5 small icons. Those are our Halley indicators. That means that any planet in the system can have 5 Halleys attached to them, 5 large rocket boosters, and they can be built on the side of this planet, and it can then be used as an interplanetary weapon. That is, the planet can be mobilized and smashed into another planet for a smashing good time.
Smashing good time it will be. Let's move along to Hello Neighbour. Last but by no means least, it looks a bit spooky. And that is because it goes really quite close in its orbit to square one. You could probably spit from one planet to the other when they're at their closest point. But let's have a look here. Anonymous 2 already moving off-world. He's got his commander off-world. And it's important to note in this game, the commander is like your king piece. You kill the commander, that player is out of the game, for those not familiar. So it's essentially, we're hunting commanders. So your donations are going to help people to hunt and kill off these commanders.
And that's the donations starting to come in now. If we look over to the main base of Anonymous 2, he has had a colonel donated. That is a support commander, a very efficient builder, able to produce Tier 2 units. In this game there are 2 tiers of technology, Tier 1, Tier 2. At Tier 1 you have the basic units, fairly lightly armoured, fairly quick, and then you move towards Tier 2, you have the more specialised units that generally tend to have more armour about them, and they can do a lot of damage very, very quickly. He's using that colonel to good effect straight away, building that advanced bot factory, giving him access to that Tier 2 technology. And in addition, over his base we can see a star cannon being built. That's a unique faction, a unique Legion faction unit which can actually launch units across the planet.
Meanwhile, CLOPSE received a donation for the horseflies. These are our really quite potent gunship over here. These guys are already doing a lot of raiding. You can already see quite how fast these guys take out the units. All those basic bot units there, called the docks, are absolutely getting shredded by these guys. CLOPSE here with really quite a mighty air force, and unfortunately Dissonant's air in yellow there is kind of sat in his base. He doesn't necessarily want to go to fight this. Dissonant receiving some nice scouts there, but CLOPSE there being nice and conserved with reserved with his air.
And true to form, of course, CLOPSE, whilst micromanaging all of his bombers, has started floating his economy, which means all of his metal he's been producing is being wasted. He's been ignoring his base whilst focusing hard on moving those air units around. And now again, he's back on the air units and his economy is back in the blue. He's wasting all those resources, busy trying to fight off his opponents with those horseflies. And that's an interesting donation there. Comet being donated to Dissonant. That's a teleporter that can fly around the map and drop units off, and it can also go into the orbital layer and transport those units to other planets. There's a lot of donations coming in here, Marshall.
There really is, and it's going to be a little difficult to keep up. And Dissonant receiving a lot of donations here, actually, which is really nice for him. And he's going to be wanting to get off planet as soon as possible. If we can look there, we can already see his commander making headway towards a teleporter. He's going to be getting off planet. Let's have a look around the system to see where he's off to. We already see CLOPSE on the one with the laser. So he's got some units roaming around there. There's a teleporter for Anonymous 2, so he can move on here if he so chooses. That's No Moon, a couple of teleporters basically at doorsteps to each other. FERRETMASTER there. And that is where Dissonant is. He's on That's No Moon, getting some factories up straight away with that commander.
And interestingly enough, Dissonant can see that his opponents are on that moon. Orbital units can be viewed by any player anywhere within the solar system. So if you look quickly at what Dissonant can see, he can see the orbital fabricators from CLOPSE and from FERRETMASTER on that planet. He knows he's not alone, but he's chosen to send his commander there anyway.
Yeah, that might well be because on the main planet there, he looks quite boxed in. He's had a lot of bullying from FERRETMASTER. He hasn't been able to rebuild this side of his base over there on the east. And that can really start to play some mind games when you really get boxed in. All you want to do is run away. You don't necessarily want to stay around, especially when your commander there is vulnerable. It makes you feel like you haven't got as much as your opponent has. Back down and around this planet, though, let's have a quick look at what's going on. Anonymous 2 there, still with a base that's ticking over. He's expanded nicely up to the equator there. Moving on still, FERRETMASTER. Again, nice conservative base. Commander still on world, though. Probably the only commander that still remains on square one.
That's another donation just dropped in there for FERRETMASTER. A Gustav, which is a long-range artillery piece. It's got a fairly conservative circle, but that's being used to defend that installation of metal, and that's to defend his resources, and that allows him to continue to expand. Interestingly enough, over on Hello Neighbor, Anonymous 2 has actually basically been allowed the planet all to himself. I say that as I start speaking. Dissonant has just landed his comet on world. His commander, Dissonant's commander, is now on Hello Neighbor with Anonymous 2. He's just dropped that through the comet. There is no way back through for that commander. He is fully committed to this planet. He needs to be very, very careful here because Anonymous 2 has got a fairly sizable standing here already. He needs to be cautious about getting sniped.
It's really good as well that he's got a colonel in there. One of those units that was donated to him. Colonels have really powerful anti-air, so they're a really good defensive unit, especially if you're moving somewhere with your commander. See that comet really going into overdrive there. That looks impressive. But this colonel, with its excessive build speed, with its capabilities to build advanced units, that really is going to really launch this little pocket base. And it's going to get it going like a kickstart, if you will.
Well, he's going to need it to get kickstarted fairly quickly because we look back over on square one. Dissonant's main base on that planet is being absolutely ravaged by the forces of FERRETMASTER. If anyone's got any spare change kicking around in their pocket right now, Dissonant seems to be the one to go for. Poor guy was substituted in at the last minute and seems to be getting bullied by all of the old guard who thought they were going to be here today. Give this guy some donations back on square one, see if you can get him restarted.
And of course, if the game lasts another 12 minutes, you can donate some Titans to Dissonant. You know, our game enders for big spenders, you can donate some nukes. Anything on that menu that you want is fair game. It's like the Hunger Games. I'm enjoying this.
So that's actually quite helpful. Hello Neighbor is now starting to look a little bit more contested. Dissonant building up his base, building up an air force to try and take on the harassment from Anonymous 2. It's quite a lot of harassment going on there. Lots and lots of those small raiding gunships coming in from Anonymous, trying to take out any chance that Dissonant has of getting any economy whatsoever. He seems to have largely abandoned That's No Moon Moon. In fact, none of the players really giving That's No Moon Moon very much attention at all. The one with the laser, however, CLOPSE has decided that he is going to play an orbital game this game and has actually started spreading out rather nicely, taking full advantage of that economy. But the absolute standout performance here at the moment is Anonymous 2, who, if we look in the top left, has got 600 metal income per second, and that is nearly double that of all of his opponents.
Yeah, and that's really going to propel him into the next part of this game. He's really going to be able to expand really quite fast on Hello Neighbor. He's got some T2 naval units and T2 air in the same pond over here. Now these Jaegers, these are advanced battleships that hover. Look at this. They can go on land. These guys are mean and nasty, and all Anonymous 2 needs to do is find Dissonant. And let's have a look from Anonymous 2's point of view. He sees a yellow base here, so he's probably thinking, I'm gonna come knocking. And Dissonant probably knows that he's in a little bit of a danger zone here, hence why he's stationed his commander right next to this teleporter, ready to run away.
Meanwhile, back on square one, things seem to have stabled out a little bit. Looks like the last traces of Dissonant's base have been thoroughly eradicated. All the players now looking to expand their metal income by expanding. In fact, let's look over Anonymous's base. You've got the Star Cannon has just fired these units here. These are aggressive T2 units, Scorpion tanks, large, heavily armoured tanks, going and fighting deep in FERRETMASTER's expansion there. And he's launched them straight from his base, right the way, halfway across, and he's now making moves towards his base with a fairly sizable T2 army there. He's got some anti-air in there. He's got some large, heavy-hitting tanks. This is going to take a bit of defending from FERRETMASTER.
It is, and fortunately for Anonymous too, FERRETMASTER's commander is not far away. And FERRETMASTER, again, as you say, all of his units are on the other side of his base. You can see him rerouting them now, coming to defend. He knows that his commander is in a bit of a pickle. He's going to leave him building these factories, though. He clearly doesn't think there's too much to worry about. He's got some units on the way, but he could do with a few more, especially considering that this army here is very vehicle heavy. On our menu, the boom bots are really, really good at taking out vehicles. They are basically counters to vehicles, if you will. And get them in this game. Come on.
But here we see the effect of having so many planets to fight over. Unfortunately, that large force from Anonymous 2, having been launched, has been sat there idle while he's probably tinkering on some other planet somewhere. So although he could have moved those in to pick off that commander relatively uncontested, it looks like at the moment they're just sat there defending themselves against the defending force of FERRETMASTER rather than pushing in, which means his attention must be focused elsewhere. I'll be interested to see what he's up to somewhere else in the solar system.
Oh, it's probably Hello Neighbor. Let's have a look over there. And indeed it is. Hello Neighbor, we can see that those units, those naval units there have completely eradicated Dissonant. Has Dissonant run to That's No Moon? I suspect he has. Yep, he's back over there again. Dissonant really in a sticky situation here. He really could do with some of your donations. This is all he has right here. These 6 buildings, 7 buildings.
Take some pity on the guy. He literally substituted in for us at the last minute here when we had a no-show due to technical issues. Guys, this is the guy you need to be helping here. Keep this guy alive. He is on a base with CLOPSE, who is somehow managing to juggle at least 2, if not 3 planets simultaneously, which is near enough unprecedented for our top-tier players. But it's excellent to see. However, if he's able to figure out that Dissonant has his commander on this planet, he is in a lot of trouble. There's in fact a Locust now. Locusts have very small line of sight, but they are absolutely devastating units. Locusts, these little puffs of nanolathe material you can see here, will just absorb any units they come into contact to. Looks like he's going to come near a Colonel, though the Colonel's managed to pick him off.
Yeah, that's the thing about the Locusts. In large hordes, as with Locusts in real life, if they are in big enough packs, you don't want to be anywhere near them. But in small enough numbers, you can swat them pretty easily.
Looking over at the one with the laser, CLOPSE is currently constructing a large Walker Titan, Thor. Looks like he's intending to lock down this planet for good. Is he then going to start trying to build these 5 catalyst control points? Is he going to turn this thing into a gigantic interplanetary death laser? What do you think, Marshall?
I think that is certainly a possibility, and considering he has almost sole control of it at this point, apart from a small pocket from Anonymous 2, if he can do that, then that will essentially secure him the win in this game. Looking around though, again, back to That's No Moon, because there was a little bit more going on here. We did see a little bit of a pocket from FERRETMASTER. That has been kicked off a little bit. CLOPSE is doing really well here. He's got quite a good base on the North Pole there. He's got a couple of defensive turrets in and around, but he's got loads and loads of fabricators building up resource buildings here. And his economy, as we can see, is the reason why he is focusing all of this fabrication build power on this metal extractor here. Look at those red numbers. He must be struggling so much. And looking further across there on the right of that table, the factory count 26, fabricators 90. That is so much build power. It's little wonder his economy is struggling.
But all that build power, of course, now being backed up by an ever-strengthening economy, that is the sort of stuff which allows you to make surprise moves. There are a number of units in this game which notify all of your opponents instantly the moment you build them. The catalyst lasers are one of them. Most Titans also fall into that bracket as well, and the interplanetary thrusters, which allow you to turn your entire planet into a weapon. They will all spawn a notification for your opponents, which will tell them, hey, this guy's up to something. So with that much build power in reserve, a player is able to effectively surprise them and use that weapon before they're able to react.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Wrong Cat. We saw some donations coming in there for Dissonant. We have a lot of landmines coming in. That will help him to defend himself, and a few necromancers as well. Now, necromancers are a bit of a double-edged sword. You can use them to troll someone if you want, but they can also be really powerful. They essentially spawn boombots. Here come the mines now. Oh no, those are the necromancers. There you go. You can see them spawning the boombots. The problem is though, the necromancers are very volatile. If they die, they explode, damaging in a radius around them.
And that must be why he's now walking those towards CLOPSE's base. That was an excellent donation, whoever decided to pop those in there. They are now walking into the heart of CLOPSE's base. I don't know how far they're going to get with these grenadiers pelting them the whole way, but when they explode, they're going to take out a fair amount around them as well. Are they going to get close enough to do any damage, though? I think they've used all their boom bots, killing off the grenadiers on their way through. Done a fair bit of damage there, but not managed to successfully kill any buildings. Dissonant very much on the back foot here. The steady stream of units coming in from CLOPSE. That's a donation of
there
mines.
There are the landmines. That's lovely placement there by our Puppet Master right between these bases. That's going to annoy CLOPSE a little bit. And you can see all of these units now as they approach. If they don't get killed off before the landmines, pop, there they go. So that should buy Dissonant just a little bit of time to get up some more defences. We can see there some defensive buildings. Let's have a look around some of the other planets now, though, Roncat. FERRETMASTER on stage 1 is expanding really, really well now. Anonymous 2's base is looking a bit dodgy. And in fact, we can see CLOPSE and FERRETMASTER all pushing in at the same time. CLOPSE only with a small raiding force of Blue Hawks here, these sort of golem-like rocket launchers. And from the other side, FERRETMASTER with a few of these shank tanks rolling in there. Looks like they've managed to take out a little bit of economy there, and a teleporter from that side. And whoa, we've just lost the teleporter from the other side of the base now too. So unless another one is built, Anonymous 2 can no longer support this base from elsewhere in the solar system. But looking at the amount of T2 he has here, and the amount of build power, he should be able to hold it off, just to be a little thorn in the side of CLOPSE and FERRETMASTER here. But the stream of the enforcers is moving in. There are some defences there. We can see a monstrosity large tank there with its cannon ready, taking out these enforcers. That guy is so tanky.
He's taken an awful lot of damage there, Marshall, but it's good to see these guys picking on Anonymous 2, because he is by far and away the runaway candidate here. He has got still double the economy of even CLOPSE, his nearest opponent. CLOPSE, by the way, who has control of 3 planets, more or less. Anonymous is absolutely dominating based on the fact that no one is contesting him over on Hello Neighbor. He has got that entire planet on lockdown. Even in the orbital layer, you can see the solar arrays kicking around. They are producing a huge amount of energy for him, meaning he's able to utilize all of that impressive metal economy. I'm not quite sure where it is that he's using it, though, apart from just to keep building things on Hello Neighbor.
Hello Neighbor is swarming.
More mines coming down for Dissonant on That's No Moon to keep those grenadiers at bay. That is excellent to see. And they have, honestly, CLOPSE has not reacted to this at all. He just keeps streaming these bots in blindly. And again, this is the result of CLOPSE having so many different planets on lockdown. He's trying to manipulate his forces across the entire solar system. These grenadiers are just being sent straight from the factories into the heart of Dissonant's base. He is not even looking at this planet anymore. This is on autopilot. This is automated destruction at its finest.
And, well, it's great for Dissonant because he can just watch this walk and he's buying himself time. He needs to get some more units, though. Ideally something like Vanguards or even some Horseflies there. Looking around, there's like 0 anti-air floating around this planet there. Apart from a couple of T2 Air Firebirds from Anonymous that are just going to be irritating. The combination of Horseflies and Phoenix for Dissonant will allow him to lock this planet down very, very quickly. Those are very fast moving. And I'm going to have a quick gander around Hello Neighbor because this place has swarmed now with blue Anonymous units. And if we look around, we can see some really interesting developments. We've got some anti-nukes here from Anonymous. He's really trying to turtle down and hunker down on this planet. We've got units everywhere, air and naval, which is going to make it very hard for anyone to try and invade this planet. And also, around this pond, where his commander is sitting, we've got some anti-orbital defences. So we can see where Anonymous 2 is really trying to hide out. Now, it should be noted that we are very, very near our game enders for big spenders. And last year, what happened was someone was so busy looking at something else on their planet, and they were donated a Ragnarok Titan on the other side of that planet. Now, a Ragnarok Titan, basically after 60 seconds of charging, will drop a pellet into the planet after drilling a hole open. That pellet will explode, causing a chain reaction that removes the planet from the game. And so he was basically killed by a troll donation to his own planet. So if you're not a fan of Anonymous, why not donate a Ragnarok to Hello Neighbor? Give it a go, see what happens.
And over on the one with the laser, Marshall, CLOPSE has finished his Thor Titan, the large walker Titan, and he is stomping straight through. He just missed a lovely little bit of combat there. He's taken out a large army from Anonymous, and he's just been stomping through. He has got this planet all to himself now, so I'm expecting to see in the next few minutes a massive spike in the economy available to CLOPSE as he starts to build metal extractors all over this planet. There are only 40 available. It is not the most resource-heavy planet, but 40 of them all on lockdown is still going to give him a very impressive income indeed.
Well, and while he's doing that, he's just finished building a nuclear missile launcher, so he's not waiting for your donations, he means business. There we go with his nuke. He's trying to get that up nice and fast. Already up to 33% completed. Now, these are a real investment in metal. So CLOPSE there, you can see his economy. He's floating on power, but he's spending 710 metal income, which is not insignificant. Loads of that is going to be on his factories, and a lot of it is going to be on assisting this nuke, which, as we already are watching, is up to 60% completion. Where could he send it? Let's have a look at square one. Is there somewhere there that he could send it? There's a lot of air around, a lot of resources there for Anonymous. Meanwhile, FERRETMASTER has kind of not really expanded a huge amount. It looks like he's trying to shore up his borders, as it were, trying to get his resources back in check. And CLOPSE has managed to keep a foothold here on Cat.
He has indeed. But I just want to draw your attention back over to That's No Moon. Significant development here. Dissonant has got 5 kernels, which I suspect were a donation that we've missed, and they are now storming through CLOPSE's base. They're taking out a lot of tier 2 metal extractors there, so that's going to be a big chunk out of CLOPSE's economy. That's going to be a fairly significant hamper to the speed of that missile.
And he's building a turret in the base.
That is absolutely outrageous. Of course, these are excellent combat units and fabrication units as well. These things can fight and build things to fight for them in the same breath. And they are doing that with great effect now. He's just parked a turret in his base and he's walking the back away again. He's just like, yep, I'm done here. Just going to leave this here. Good fun, good luck, have fun, deal with this.
Absolute troll. What an absolute troll. And even in his little pocket base, he's just built a load of long-range missile launchers. So he's just being a right nuisance. The moment he has cleared off this That's No Moon, however, I reckon Dissonant could really be something of an upset winner here. But he's got to compete with FERRETMASTER, who is really trying to get some T2 on this planet now. The moment these factories start producing, that's going to be the worry for Dissonant. Because at this point, these players are going to start to be looking for commanders. They're going to be starting to look for the kills to remove players from the game. Anonymous 2 just said, ow, where was that? Could that have been? What
have we missed, Marshall?
On the one with the laser, CLOPSE looks like he's launched a defensive nuke. I'm going to go back into the chronocam here and go back a few sets of 30 seconds. And we can see a teleporter there from Anonymous 2, starting to send units in. CLOPSE there with the nuke and the air, running over, sees a lot of anti-air in that force, losing all of his bombers that are in his air force, runs the air away as the nuke is fired. The nuke launcher is gone, a kernel appears through that teleporter and instantly is wiped out.
I'm back in real time. That's No Moon. We're seeing a lovely stream of donations coming through here for Dissonant. He seems to be the real viewer's choice in this tournament. Excellent to see. We've got 2 Vanguards have appeared, and we have an Omni Silo storage device popped in as well. So he's got loads of economy storage. He's got those kernels which are both fighting and economy units, and he's really pushing back now. He's actually nearly eradicated CLOPSE from this planet altogether. Looks like he's just dealing the final finishing blow on those idle factories now, building turrets everywhere to cement his gains and being an absolute pest, building defenses on the outskirts of his opponent's bases. Another donation coming in now. That's 3 more metal extractors. He's getting an economy boost as well, bringing him back into the game.
That was going to be my next comment. His economy was at 2 double figures at the point, and now it's in triple. He is still having to contend with FERRETMASTER on the south here, though, and we can start to see the colonels, the turrets, start to face off against FERRETMASTER here. The enforcers coming in, really focusing down those turrets, but losing themselves in the process. He's got more coming, though, and he's got more factories on the production line. FERRETMASTER, though, struggling with economy. He needs to really expand a lot more on square one. Let's have a look at where he could be doing stuff on square one. He could be expanding to the North Pole there. He could be expanding to players' old dead bases. Dissonant isn't there anymore. He could just send a fabricator over and claim the resources. Why not? And oh, hello, an advanced power catalyst on That's No Moon for Dissonant. Again, more economy for him. Someone is really trying to make Dissonant win this game.
And they are having an amazing effect. Those 5 colonels have absolutely turned his fortune, and these eco buildings that are being donated now are going to further cement that, allowing these colonels to build these forward defences, which are being a real pain in FERRETMASTER's side. FERRETMASTER now having to divert a lot of attention into defending this base, and that's going to have an impact on his ability to fight over on square one. And I can see there's nothing moving at all in FERRETMASTER's base now in square one. He's devoting all of his attention to defending against these attacks over on That's No Moon, because these colonels are just being such a thorn in his side.
Now, while That's No Moon is going on and all these players are kind of scrimming and scuffling all over the place, over on Hello Neighbor, I'm going to say, hello, what's this? Because look at all these units I've just highlighted in the orbital layer. These are SXX, or if you want to pronounce them as SIZX. These are orbital laser platforms, and there's a lot of them. 22, no less. That is a huge amount. These guys have a very powerful laser that they just charge and fire straight at the ground below. These are looking to me like Anonymous is thinking about moving them through the orbital layer, or through the planetary system there, and going to snipe some commanders. There's already some stuff of his moving through. We've got some air that can move through, and we've got an orbital radar there following it up as well. And that's all looks like it's going to That's No Moon. He's going to pop it up over here somewhere. The radar will give him all the vision he needs. The air that he's flying there will allow him to secure the air layer if it needs it. Of course, he doesn't have any vision, so he's sending it anyway. And then those SIZX will probably follow up thereafter. If you look in the lower right picture-in-picture that I've got there, that's the orbital view, and we can already see there the SIZX moving through the system.
And they're going over to That's No Moon. They are all on their way. In fact, no, I take it back. I think they might be on their way to the one with the laser. This all depends on what Anonymous 2 can see.
He's seen CLOPSE. He's seen CLOPSE's commander. It has no anti-air at all. CLOPSE needs some support, guys. CLOPSE needs some anti-orbital stuff going on right now, or some teleporters to move him back onto square one. Get some teleporters in. Get some umbrellas going. He needs them this instant if he's going to survive this onslaught.
If indeed Anonymous has managed to find exactly where his commander is located, that's the key here, because these could appear anywhere. Oh, they've appeared directly on top of the commander. They are directly over the top of commander's. That commander is about to explode. That's a SIZX snipe. What an amazing placement there.
Absolutely brutal. CLOPSE is out of this tournament. No support for CLOPSE. He was not the chosen one today. My goodness.
That was all over very, very quickly. That was a very impressive snipe there for Anonymous. They dropped then straight on the commander's head. That shows the importance of scouting in the game. He was able to see exactly where his opponent's commander was, and he dropped the right thing in the right place at the right time. CLOPSE is out of AbleGamers 2020.
Now, it should be noted that with that, it really does show now how powerful Anonymous is in this game. Looking in the top left in the economy tab there, his economy is almost at 2,000 metal. That is astronomical. His metal is in the stratosphere. And all the other players really are struggling quite a way behind. So if you don't want Anonymous to win, or if you do want Dissonant and FERRETMASTER to win, we're going to need some big plays. We've got Game Enders for Big Spenders unlocked. 5 Halleys on a single planet will win this game for someone. For example, if FERRETMASTER got 5 Halleys on That's No Moon in his base, he could send That's No Moon smashing into Hello Neighbor, and Dissonant would have to try and attack those Hallies. Because Dissonant's commander is on this moon, so Dissonant could be riding that moon into Hello Neighbor, killing off Dissonant and Anonymous. These are what you're going to be thinking about, folks, in your donations. Let's get it happening. Let's see some planet smashes in this game.
I've just spotted over on Hello Neighbor some orbital fabricators and orbital fighters coming in from FERRETMASTER, trying to make a beachhead down here on the surface of the planet, but he's got to try and fight through this air layer. He needs something in the orbital layer which can fire down and kill all these fighters and bombers. There is absolutely no way he's going to be able to complete those teleporters with all of that in there. I say that, there's a teleporter completed. Those tanks are just absolutely brutalizing it the second it's been built. Anonymous is going to start getting wise to this very soon. He's got no orbital on this side of the planet, so he's actually vulnerable to an attack here. FERRETMASTER needs to follow this up with something else. There he is, he's building a Centurion, which will be able to clear the way beneath him, and then he can build that teleporter and start making an incursion, trying to break Anonymous's stronghold on this planet, which is absolutely enormous. 2,000 metal economy. That is an enormous amount of build power. It's got to be going somewhere. He has got to be building something very, very big that we've missed somewhere, Marshall.
He's got a lot of kernels assisting more kernels. So the more kernels he builds, the more he builds, the more he builds, right? It's like a feedback loop. And the more building he gets assisting this building, the more resources he spends. And eventually he's going to have so many kernels building kernels so fast that he's going to be tanking his economy unless he pays attention to this. But it should be said that an orbital unit that is good for anti-ground stuff are some Imperators. If you can donate those to Ferret, we can get some stuff happening.
I've just seen a very important donation come up on That's No Moon, Marshall. Someone has just donated a Zeus Titan to Dissonant. He's just had a donation of Phoenixes in the orbital Avengers, in the orbital layer. He's got Phoenixes, tier 2 air, and he has a Zeus following up as well. He's in a position where he can take FERRETMASTER entirely off of this planet if he chooses to stomp through with this air. And he's doing so now, pushing in with the Zeus Titan.
I was going to say, I'd be very surprised if he didn't take that opportunity. And indeed, at this point, let's have a look at who's on that one with the laser. Anonymous is over there as well. Guys, we need some stuff to get rid of Anonymous. He is too powerful. He needs to be regulated like all the banks. He's just too far out in front. His orbital fabbers are moving around. They're going to be doing some work, I reckon, in the orbital layer. Could they be building some defenses, some orbital factories? But he's got too much. He's too big. The conglomerates need to be broken up. So he says Anonymous is just there, and he's just growing exponentially. Let's get some of those game enders.
The law of unintended consequences here. The donations to Dissonant back on That's No Moon have meant that FERRETMASTER has had to divert all of his attention to trying to defend this little enclave, which means he has then abandoned his attack on Hello Neighbor, the little incursion which he was trying with those teleporters to try and dislodge Anonymous 2's economy. Anonymous 2 really is taking complete advantage of this situation. And Dissonant, though, some more donations coming in. That is a nuke for Dissonant on That's No Moon.
That is very, very juicy indeed. The question is, where could he possibly launch it? Let's have a look at what he can see around the rest of the system. On square one, he sees naught, apart from a little bit of the orbital. On the one with the laser, he sees naught, apart from the fact that he can assume Anonymous has control of this planet. What can he see on Hello Neighbor? Enough to know Anonymous is in control of this planet. He has no idea of where to send this nuke that would make it most effective. He hasn't got any vision, so that's what he needs to focus on next. Or he could fire it blind, or he could use it in case someone tries to invade him. Defensive nukes are often used, and in fact there's a teleporter from FERRETMASTER here on That's No Moon. With units coming through, we might well see a defensive nuke here if this Zeus gets taken down.
The Zeus, I think, is taking a lot more damage than he was expecting. That's a tier 2 anti-air unit there. He's running away from that very, very quickly, waiting for these ground units to deal with that at a distance. And now the Zeus has got all these anti-air, again, coming through the teleporter. So he's backing it away, trying to preserve it, knowing that someone's paid a significant donation to get that there for him. He's trying to conserve his Zeus quite sensibly, if I may say so. These units need to try and take out the AA from FERRETMASTER and try and dislodge him, get him off this planet once and for all. As long as that teleporter stays online, FERRETMASTER can continue to send through more units, more support through to this planet, back from his base on square one.
Going to be a real issue for him. Although that being said, he has got enough units to defend now. He's got a lot of colonels, he's got a lot of ground-based bot units there, so he should be okay for the time being. But FERRETMASTER's units continue to be loose and free. Are they coming from square one? I think they probably will be. The production there is just routing them all to a teleporter. Commander still sat there, actually. FERRETMASTER's commander very, very open indeed. Keep an eye on the orbital play there in that bottom window, folks, because if Anonymous 2's blue units start moving through the orbital layer, there's some sniping afoot.
I think so. We are definitely into snipe territory now. We are 40 minutes into the game. The game enders are coming in thick and fast. Thank you, all of you, for your generous donations thus far. It's been awesome just to watch these game changers appear in real time. And the Zeus now really mopping up FERRETMASTER over on That's No Moon Moon. All his production buildings now being slowly taken out, and he's going to be off of here very, very soon indeed. He just needs to push out, expand, try and take as many of these metal extractors as he can, expand his economy back up. But he is at such a disadvantage right now. Anonymous's economy, 2,500 right now. The closest competitor is FERRETMASTER at 500. I'm really waiting to see what it is that Anonymous is pouring all of this metal into. The colonels are still building more economy over on the one with the laser. Not that he needs it.
Not that he needs it at all. He's got almost 3,000. Anonymous is saying, wahaha, what has he got? He's got a couple of nukes over here. They're not being assisted out very fast, so it's not doing too much. He's got a lot of kernels. He could move them over to the metal planet and build up those catalysts, or he could move them all onto That's No Moon Moon, build some Halleys very, very quickly, and send it smashing into stage 1. Why not?
Those are the Halleys. In fact, the Halleys are there. Over on Hello Neighbor, Halleys now being built by Anonymous 2 at some speed. And I don't know that there's much any of the other players can do about this. The only exception to which, perhaps, being the nuke on That's No Moon Moon from Dissonant, if he still has it available.
I don't mean to interrupt you. We've just had a donation for 5 Praetorians and a Thor for FERRETMASTER on square 1. And a Ragnarok has just come in.
A Ragnarok has just appeared on square 1.
Anonymous is getting rid of square 1 without attacking Ferret. This is brutal. Absolutely brutal. You can see what a Ragnarok does now. It's flanked by so many shields. It's in this nice defensible region with these cracks. FERRETMASTER now has approximately 30 seconds to deal with this. And we do have the Praetorians and potentially the Thor there. We've got a Colonel moving in on top of Ferret's commander. He's gone anyway. Dissonant just got donations on top of Ferret's commander. That was nasty.
That was brutal by the Puppet Master. As it happens, though, those colonels are absolutely toast. Praetorians, in fact, are absolutely toast. Anonymous pouring all of his units through that teleporter, getting them off the world. Here comes the Ragnarok. The core of the Ragnarok now dropping down into the center of the planet. Lava, magma spewing out of the top. There goes the warhead down into the core of the planet. Here it comes.
Kaboom. That planet is out of play.
Absolutely toast. Which leaves us with Dissonant clinging on to That's No Moon Moon. Anonymous over on Hello Neighbor is moved on to his third Halley of 5. He has got to build only another 2 Halleys and this thing can be launched. I strongly suspect he's going to move his commander across to the one with the laser. Can you see him? There he is. His commander is over on the one with the laser. I think what we're about to see here is a planet smash. I reckon Hello Neighbor is going to be smashed into That's No Moon Moon. He's got to be careful here, though, because on its way through into the collision, there is a risk of an incidental planet smash. Bearing in mind how close these planets are to each other, the Planetary Annihilation game engine is such that if two planets touch each other, even if it's by accident, it will initiate a full-scale planet smash.
As you would expect in physics, right? If
Absolutely.
two massive bodies collide, there's going to be some cataclysmic explosions in one way, shape, or form. But my goodness me, this could be it. We might not even need the Halleys there. The Helios from Anonymous 2. This is an orbital Titan with a built-in teleporter. All of these units from Anonymous on Hello Neighbor are streaming through onto That's No Moon Moon, and Dissonant now has some problems. He's got a lot of defenses up around his base there. His commander there on the side of it. SXX moving in as well. There's a lot of stuff happening here. And is that commander seen? Commander's picked up in an Astraeus almost. Dissonant there ready to pick him up and run
is
away.
That Astraeus going to survive? The Avengers won't let that survive. No
the
way.
Astraeus has run away without picking up the commander. Was that a misclick? I think it might have been.
The SXX is getting ever closer. Buildings being destroyed. There's lasers coming down from space. The commander has stood still. He should be running away, trying to preserve himself. I mean, the only thing he's going to preserve himself from is from the Syzyxes. They're being pulled away. I think
we got some star cannons launching some stuff in there as well. Some unit cannons. Everything is firing up into space though. Those Syzyx aren't managing to get there.
Anonymous is pulling his units back because he doesn't want to do this that way. He wants to do things his way.
Not like this. Not like this.
He wants, I think Anonymous wants a planet smash. And viewers, do you want a planet smash? I feel like you guys are going to want to see this.
Dissonant there trying to launch some unit cannons away. He's off away to Hello Neighbor. That just shows how little information he has. He's going to try and get those Halleys. He can't now launch anything else there. The planet is on its way. The engines are launched, but Dissonant does not know that the commander is on that one with the laser, surrounded by not a huge amount of anti-orbital. If Dissonant only knew, he could have got a commander snipe. If only he knew. But unfortunately he didn't. And now, as the planets are careering through the system there's not much more that Dissonant can do. We can see Hello Neighbor slingshotting around the sun there. And what we're going to do is we're going to view this from the view of the metal planet here, the Annihilator, and we're going to go right down there to view this explosion from afar.
We are at a very strong risk of an incidental smash here, Marshall.
Oh, really?
I think it's going to actually incidentally smash it before its intended time to smash. There it comes. Here comes the smash.
There we go. And Dissonant is no more.
Instantly vaporized. Well, folks, that is the first round completed. Anonymous 2, who actually made his way into this tournament through the qualifiers that we held last week, is now through into the final. That is the first of 5 games this evening completed. Anonymous 2 takes the crown for bracket A.
That was absolutely brutal.